Hello, hello, hello. Nice of you all to stop by. It's been a crazy afternoon, crazy day, crazy week, a crazy month, and a crazy year. All right. So, where's my pen? I was going to write on the board, but I'm not going to because I can't find my pen. I'm not going to break the stream. I'll let a few people trickle in here. I am going to do some layouts, or no, I'm going to take some layouts and turn them into pencils. That is the plan today, or this evening. Got to get this Rooster book moving after a very slow August, where Elizabeth and I had to tend to some very important business for the future of the Allegiance Arts Publishing brand, and it was very successful. I think I talked a little bit more about it on my last broadcast. If you want to know more, but Elizabeth and I brought in a friend, someone who has become a friend, an investor into our company, and it means quite a great deal for the future of our incredible books and for the future of our great creators that we get to work alongside, which is wonderful. Anyway, it's that's all good news, but golly, it has been crazy. Everybody's year's been nuts, but I don't know. I've had 2 nutty years. Thank you, Dennis, for the nice compliment. Allegiance is doing well. We're selling books in Walmart, and hopefully in not too far in the future, well beyond Walmart. Our distributor has a pretty wide reach, and we are pretty excited about that. And we hope to make our books even more discoverable and accessible to those that might still be having difficulty finding them or don't have a Walmart in their area or choose to shop somewhere else. Dennis, he says he ordered all of our books from Walmart's website, first and second episodes. Thank you very much, Dennis, for doing that. We appreciate it, and I'm glad I assume you've enjoyed them, because we all worked very, very hard on them. I love your ambition to get your books into as many hands as possible. That's the goal. Put comic books into as many hands as possible. I think that's a pretty good goal. And one thing we really wanted to do as part of our business pitch from the very beginning was we wanted to make comic books discoverable, so that by chance a young mind who has never been exposed to a comic book, or at least a comic book, 22-page comic book, traditional comic book, can pick one up and have the full body experience of opening an incredible comic book that feels perfect and looks beautiful and smells amazing like pulpy paper, and then has an incredible story inside that takes them somewhere else. I wish I was somewhere else, like the beach. Soon. As soon as I'm done with this book, we're going to go on a vacation. All right, the elephant in the room, and then I'm going to get to drawing. The elephant in the room is I noticed my ratios are terrible. They're terrible. My YouTube ratios. So I'm still trying to figure this out. So two options. One, the first option is I'm terrible. My shows are terrible. My art is terrible. And there's always room for improvement. And you guys can let me know what you think, and I will respond and do better and be a better broadcaster and be a better host. And I love critique because it does make me a better person. I've always pursued a difficult critique because that is how you improve. And I am someone who likes to always improve themselves. Option 2, and this is the unlikely one, but it could be true. So my poor ratios on YouTube and in other places could be, this is unlikely, but it could be that people are sitting a significant number of people are sitting around waiting for me to post content in order just to give a thumbs down in an attempt to demoralize myself and my wife and associates. And now I think that's crazy, for one. So I don't think that's actually I don't think that's probably the way it is, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. So people could be just sitting and waiting for me to post in order to thumbs down a video to decrease my ratios, to somehow damage my brand or reputation or demoralize myself or our beautiful and wonderful audience, friends and associates. I think that is that seems to me perplexing human behavior, and I don't think it's likely, but I can't rule it out. But anyway, you guys can let me know in the comments what you think. But anyway, we appreciate always your enthusiasm and your encouragement. We want nothing more, of course, than to create amazing comic books with beautiful art and beautiful stories that can not only compete with the big boys, but exceed the quality level in every way. So, and in the process, we would like to make money doing this so that we can continue to do it. We're very proud of our books and our stories and of the support we've gotten from our fans. And we have inculcated, I believe, an incredible, or fostered, I like fostered better. We have fostered simply through great work and positive attitudes, a beautiful relationship with between our company and our fans, and then the content, the characters. And that's all we wanted out of this. We've done it. We're doing it and continue to do it without hurting anyone, without talking about personalities or individuals, or talking about the latest drama from Twitter or other nonsense. So we did it all with a positive attitude and hard work, even if hard work and excellent craftsmanship takes a little longer, and it has across all our range of books taken a little longer, and actually quite a bit longer than we thought. But that is time is part of the price that we sacrifice for excellent quality in comic books, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, anyway, I've addressed my strange and unusually poor ratios. I'm assuming it's me. So if there's things I can do to improve, to be a better host, to be a better broadcaster, to be a better artist or creator, you guys let me know. And again, I think it's extremely unlikely that anyone sits by their computer waiting for us to post in an attempt to demoralize or hurt our rankings in different platforms. That would be incredibly weird. All right. That said, I am going to show you what I'm working on this evening. Hello, Alita. Thank you very much. That was a very kind thing of you to say. Hello, Marty. Marty found our books in Walmart and sent us some really nice messages on Facebook, and we love having her as a fan. Awesome. So we got some good people in here. All right, so this one is a tricky one. Dennis says, I will admit finding your comics on Walmart website is not easy. Agreed. We're not really crazy about that, and we are working on it. I'll talk more about it. That's my only complaint. I know the tricks, but newbies cannot find them easily. So right now, the best way to, if you want to purchase our books on Walmart.com, go to allegiancearts.com, and there's a convenient link right at the top of our website that will take you to our books. They're not very well merchandised on the Walmart.com store. So, excuse me. Now, we are working on that, and that is one of the reasons for our short pause in publication. we are resolving some merchandising issues, and I have brought in a outside consultant contractor who is a big heavy hitter in this space, and specifically with Walmart.com, in an attempt to fix these issues, because we are not happy, and it's not really Walmart's fault, or it's not really our distributor's fault. It's just sort of like a tangled web, and nobody can really kind of cut through it. So we have hired a specialist to help do that for us, who has a lot of relationships and does a lot of work for Walmart.com vendors and has a lot of relationships with the Walmart.com people. So we are working very hard and are spending the extra money to make sure that everyone has an amazing experience with our comic books, from your online experience to your reading experience. So just sit tight, and those kinks will get worked out eventually. It's just it's a big initiative, and we can't control every aspect of it. So it just takes a little while to dial it all in. Thank you, John Lee. Hi from Hartford, Connecticut. Love your book, Red Rooster. Awesome. Keep up the great art. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. You guys have been incredible. All right. Hello, Jake. Nice. When is the book coming out for Indiegogo backers? Literally as soon as it's done. I'm doing my damnedest to finish it by the end of the month, and then it will basically be in fulfillment immediately thereafter. This thing has to be done shortly. I'm on a number of different deadlines. So that's what I'm doing this evening. And as soon as we are done, it's going out. We've already got our posters here. Here it is. Kapow Cola Girl poster for backers that bought that tier. Lovely. So I'm sitting on a couple thousand posters, and we've got trading cards coming, which is a complimentary trading card for everybody that purchased the book. And we have a couple other neat surprises as well, to thank backers for their patience in allowing us to create an excellent book alongside building a company. And so we've got I want everyone to be pleasantly surprised when they receive their Red Rooster graphic novel. 70 pages now. Started as 60, now it's 70. So you're not only going to get a couple surprises, but you're also getting 10 more pages than you paid for. So thank you everyone. Cool poster. All right, so here's what I'm working on this evening. Nope, share screen. There we go. All right, this is a layout for Red Rooster in episode 3. Not going to tell you which page. But what I'm going to do tonight is, and if you have any questions for me, do them now. So if any of you have questions, do them now, because I'm going to get into drawing. So what I'm going to do tonight is take this layout and start tightening it up and turning it into pencils so that I can ink this page tomorrow. All right. Thank you, Diesel Punk, for buying our books. Appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to put on some tunes and get to work. Again, it's always a pleasure to draw for all of you. We are going to listen to my internet friend, Akira the Don, as usual, who has given me permission to use his music. So that's Akira the Don on YouTube. He does some fun. Is this spoiler free? So, yeah, this one's pretty spoiler free, especially if you read episode 2.
In exploring the theme of the web of life,
I think this is a spoiler free page.
I think you can discussed 2 principal topics.
Yeah, I would say this one's spoiler free.
The web considered as selectivity. Experience considered as what
I am well. My day was okay.
Ignore on the other.
Crazy. It was kind of a nutty evening, but it's all
and
good.
I showed how the way in which we pay attention to the world creates,
Thank you, Jake.
isolates that we call particular things, events, and persons.
Thank you,
And they
Nighthawk.
seem to be
Man,
disconnected
really appreciate you
and to
guys.
be alone because we ignore the connection between.
All right, here we go.
And I use the analogy of
Let's
weaving,
walk. Let's go.
where the threads go underneath and join on the back in a way that is not seen on the front. So you might say in the unconscious, although I don't particularly like that word because it makes it seem as if it was something rather dead. But on the unconscious side of life, as on the back of the weaving or the back of the embroidery, there are connections which are not published.
Smash that thumbs up.
Connections which are not published.
Thank you all.
There are connections which are not published.
As soon as the book is done, it begins fulfillment. We're getting all the pieces together, and I am working hard towards finishing.
Now in the second part
So,
of the theme,
when exactly will it be sent out?
the web
It doesn't all go out on the same day, so it'll take me a few weeks to get everything out the door.
or anything like that.
But as soon as I'm done with art, we're gonna have everything ready, and it should go start heading out.
And this miraculous thing occurs that when the things support each other, being comes into being, thought comes into being. And so in exactly the same way, our world is a manifestation of relativity. And this requires a balance, combination, a relationship of opposites in every domain of life. And although these opposites are explicitly different and even antagonistic, they are implicitly one. Implicitly one. They are implicitly one. And that's the secret. There are connections which are not published. A relationship of opposites in every domain of life. There are connections which are not published. There are connections which are not published. A relationship of opposites in every domain of life. There are connections which are not published. They are implicitly one. And that's the secret. See, there are these two secrets that we went into. The connection between what are supposed to be separate things and events, and the mutual unity between what are manifestly, that is to say, openly.
And I'll show you what I'm using for reference here.
Opposites.
It's kind of interesting.
Now, I'm going to take two other aspects of the web.
These are incredible, by the way. They were a little expensive, but definitely worth it. So it's just a quick, kind of posing and use that for reference. And I have a female one too, but they're very handy.
There are connections which are not published. They are implicitly one. And that's the secret. The web is a trap, like the spider's web is a trap for flies. Also, the lovely embroideries are worn by women as traps for men, from a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. And I want to consider the web as something playful. You see, there are so many ways of looking at it. And you will find that all these ways are right. But what we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. the view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view.
That's not right.
What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. There are people who like to see the web as a trap and get stuck with that. There are people to whom existence is simply hateful. They see it as nothing but a ghastly mistake. The Lord really erred when he created this world, because he arranged it in such a way that everything lives by eating something else. And what I'm doing is I'm describing a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. I'm not exactly philosophizing, I'm describing a point of view. You can look at life in such a way that the whole thing is this ghastly mistake. For example, there is no such thing as genuine kindness or love. Everybody is really pretending that they're loving other people in order to get some advantage from them. And indeed, there is a point of view which occurs in certain forms of paranoia, where people don't seem to be real. They are mechanisms. And you can seek that out quite intensely with a good deal of intelligence. After all, if you start from a good old Darwinian or Freudian basis and see that man is a material machine and that the consciousness of man is simply a very involved and complicated form of chemistry, well, then this awful mechanical things, these Frankenstein that everybody is, they come around and they say, oh, well, I'm alive. I'm a human being. I have a heart. I love. I hate. I have problems. I feel. And you feel like saying, come off it. You're just a monster. You put on the civilized act because really you're just a set of teeth on the end of a tube. What we need is the fullness of the view from a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view from a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view from a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view from a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. And you've got a ganglion behind those feet, which you call your brain or your alleged mind. And this thing is really basically there for two purposes. One, to be cunning enough to get something to eat, put down the tube, and the other, you know what, Mr. Freud, and everything else, you see, can be construed as an elaborate, subtle way of pretending that that's not really what you want to do, but you do. But you put on a great show. Now, some people, according to this view, get mixed up. They so repress that what they really want to do is to eat and to screw. They get involved in higher things that are the masks for these activities and think that that's the real purpose of life. And then they become what's called neurotic. Because they get involved in being pure camouflage. That's what's called escaping from the facts. Not looking at life, not looking at reality correctly.
I don't know why I have such trouble drawing teeth.
this is a very strange thing, you see, that it is partly true that the universe, so far as its biological aspect is concerned, is this weird system that lives by everybody eating everybody else. Only what we do to maintain what is called order and civilization is that various species make agreement that they won't eat each other. They'll cooperate, and so be an enormous gang which can beat down the others. Though the human being is the most successful so far of this gangster arrangement. We are the most predatory monsters on Earth. And we have cooperated to assault the fish and the vegetables and the chickens and the cows and everything, you see. Only we do it by not letting our left hand know what our right hand doing. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, unless gentlemen happen to be prone to going hunting as a sport, they don't see their food killed. They don't see the slaughterhouse. And so what you get in the butchery, in the market, a steak, is a thing in its own right. It has nothing to do with a cow. Steak is the same shape, and so, and it looks as if it might be like a banana or something like that, and nobody worries. And when a fish is served up, it does indeed look like a fish, but it's not the squiggly, squirmy fish that comes out on the end of the fisherman's line. When you really fish, you realize that the fish doesn't like it very much. But this gangster arrangement. We are the most predatory monsters on Earth. So let me repeat. But this gangster arrangement. We are the most predatory monsters on Earth. So let me repeat. But this gangster arrangement. There is that absolutely extraordinary side of things that is really terrifying. And so let me repeat the illustration I used of the cross in the net, where one side of it is the cut and eat, teeth that chew and get this thing in, and the opening side of it is like James Joyce's Ulysses, the girl who says yes, and I said yes. She wants to be absolutely ravaged by her man, see? So it's open. But now comes if we take the dark view of things, the horrible view. Excuse me if I go into some rather grisly details, but have you ever heard of a vagina dentata? That is the idea that in the sexual organ of the woman there are teeth. And a lot of men have this fantasy, and so are rendered impotent. They don't make love.
Well, that's a weird thing to say and think about. I've never once thought about that in my life.
You're going to get emasculated. You're going to lose.
But then again, I guess I don't really have problems with women.
We are the most predatory monsters on Earth. So let me repeat. For this gangster arrangement. We are the most predatory monsters on Earth. So let me repeat. For this gangster arrangement. This is a very ancient fantasy. It appears throughout all known history. Because this is simply the woman's come on, where she attracts, but she's out really to get you. She is basically a spider mother, who is selfish and doesn't really love you. Not really.
All right, hands. Here we go.
And of course,
hands are hard.
On the other side, all the tricks of the men go without mention. So this is a view of the world as a system of mutual exploitation and of maximal selfishness. Now, it's a very profitable view to explore. Everybody should do in their lifetime sometimes two things. One is to consider death, to observe skulls and skeletons. Consider death, and to wonder what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Never. That is a very gloomy thing for contemplation. But it's like manure. Just as manure fertilizes the plants and so on. So the contemplation of death and the acceptance of death is very highly generative of creative life. You get wonderful things out of that. And the other thing to contemplate is to follow the possibility of the idea that you are totally selfish. That you don't have a good thing to be said for you at all. You're a complete, utter rascal. You're a complete, utter rascal. Now, the Christians have avoided this. Because although they say in their Episcopalian form of confession that we have erred and strayed from thy ways like lost sheep, and we have followed too much the devices and desires of our own hearts, too much. We have offended against thy holy laws. We have left undone those things we ought to have done, and done those things which we ought not to have done, and there is no help in us. But it ought to be different. And we're going to do our best to amend with the help of God's grace. That is a real con act. If you equate health with genuine love and perfect unselfishness, then in that sense there is no health in us when we look at ourselves from this point of view. Consider death. To observe skulls and skeletons. Consider death. And to wonder what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Never. Consider death. To observe skulls and skeletons. Consider death. And to wonder what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Never. Akira. This ain't no middle world. You love yourself in terms of what is better. In terms of what is better. You love yourself in terms of what is better. In terms of what is better. Now, when you go deeply into the nature of selfishness, what do you discover? You say, I love myself, I seek my own advantage. Now, what is the self that I love? What do I want? And that becomes an increasingly ever deeper puzzle. Now, I've often referred to this when you say to somebody else, I love you. It's always rather disconcerting to the person to whom you say that. If you imply that you love them with a pure, disinterested, and holy love, they automatically suspect it as being a little bit phony. But if you say, I love you so much I could eat you, that's an expression, it's a way of saying to a person, you attract me so much that I can't help it. I'm absolutely bowled over by you. I'm gone. And people like that. Then they feel they're really being loved, that it's absolutely genuine. But now, I love you so much I could eat you. Now what the devil do I want? I certainly don't want to eat the girl in the sense of literally devouring her, because then she'd disappear. But I love myself. And what is me? In what way do I know me? But it suddenly occurs to me that I know me only in terms of you. See, when I think of anything that I know and that I like, then it's always something that can be viewed as other than me. I can never
Hi, Serena.
me, real me. It's always behind.
Long time no see.
And I really don't know it well enough to know whether I love it or
Hello,
not.
Beth. Thank you.
Maybe I don't. Maybe it's an appalling mess. But certainly the things I do love and that I want from a selfish point of view, when I really think about them, they're all something else. That's in a way outside me. You love yourself in terms of what is other. In terms of what is other. You love yourself in terms of what is other. In terms of what is other. Now we saw that there is a reciprocity. A total mutual interdependence between what we call the self and what we call the other. That's the walking wolf. And so, if you're perfectly honest about loving yourself, and you don't pull any punches, you don't pretend that you're anything other than exactly what you are, you suddenly come to discover that the self you love, if you really go into it, is the universe. You suddenly come to discover that the self you love, if you really go into it, is the universe. You don't like all of it. You are selective about it, as we saw in the beginning. Perception is selection. But on the whole, you love yourself in terms of what is other. In terms of what is other. You love yourself in terms of what is other. In terms of what is other. You love yourself in terms of what is other. In terms of what is other. You love yourself in terms of what is other. In terms of what is other. Because it's only in terms of what is other that you have a self at all.
Very good to hear. Thank you. Yes. Some of our merchandising, it's again, we were in 3,384 Walmarts, so it wasn't exactly 100% execution. So it's good to hear that you found yours. Thank you.
One of the very great things that C.G. Jung contributed to mankind's understanding was the concept of the shadow. That
The shadow.
everybody has a shadow.
Important storytelling device.
The main task of the psychotherapist is to do what he called to integrate the evil. To, as it were, put the devil in us in its proper function. Because you see, it's always the devil, unacknowledged one, the outcast, the scapegoat, the bastard, the bad guy, you see, the black sheep of the family. It's always from that point.
You must have smart
What
kids.
you could call the fly in the ointment. You see, that generation comes. In other words, in the same way as in the drama, to have the play, it's necessary to introduce a villain. It's necessary to introduce a certain element of trouble. So, in the whole scheme of life, there has to be the shadow. The shadow. The bastard, the bad guy, the black sheep of the family. The shadow. Integrate the evil. Integrate the evil. The shadow. The bastard, the bad guy, the black sheep of the family. The shadow. Everybody has a shadow, because without the shadow there comes the substance. So this is why there is a very strange association between crime and all naughty things and holiness. Now you see, holiness is way beyond being good. Good people aren't necessarily holy people. A holy person is one who is whole, who has, as it were, reconciled his opposites. And so there's always something slightly scary about holy people. And other people react to them in very strange ways. They can't make up their mind whether they're saints or devils. So holy people have, throughout history,
I live in Little Rock,
always created
not, but we do a lot of business in WA.
results. Take Jesus, for example. The trouble that Jesus created is absolutely incalculable. Think of the Crusades, the Inquisition, heaven only knows what's gone on in the name of Jesus. Freud's a big troublemaker, as well as a great healer, you see. It all goes together. The bad guy, the factory to the man. Shadow. Integrate the evil. Integrate the evil with shadow. The bad guy, the black sheep of the family. Shadow. Everybody has a shadow, because without the shadow, you can't substance.
And it's not right.
So the holy person is scary, because he is like the earthquakes, or better still, he's like the ocean. See the ocean, on a lovely sunny day, you can say, oh, isn't that gorgeous, and you can go into it and relax and float around. But boy, when the storm comes, does that thing get mad? It's terrifying. So there is in us the ocean, you see. And Jung felt that the whole point was to bring the two together by a kind of fantastic honesty, to penetrate one's own motivations to the depths. Jung had a tremendous humor. And he knew that nobody can be completely honest. You will try and have a great deal of success exploring your motivation, your dark, unconscious depth, that nobody can be completely honest. You will try and have a great deal of success, but there will be a certain point at which you will say, well, I've had enough of that. Do you see how, in a strange way, there's a certain sanity in that? When a person indulges in a certain kind of duplicity, of deception, there is something, you all laughed when I said that, there was something humorous about it. And this humor is a very funny thing. Basically, humor is an attitude of laughter about oneself. There is malicious humor, which is laughing at other people. But real deep humor is laughter at oneself. Now, why fundamentally do you laugh about yourself? What makes you laugh about yourself? Isn't it because you know that there is a big difference between what goes on the outside and what goes on the inside? That if I hint, you see, that your inside is the opposite of your outside, it makes people laugh. If I don't do it unkindly. If I get up in the attitude of a preacher and say you're a bunch of miserable sinners and you ought to be different. Nobody laughs. But if I say, well, after all, boys will be boys, girls will be girls, I mean, we all know, then people laugh. Nobody can be completely honest. You will try and have a great deal of success exploring your motivation, your dark, unconscious depth. That nobody can be completely honest. You will try and have a great deal of success, but there will be a certain point at which you will say, well, I've had enough of that. Now, you see, what's happening when we do that? Now, I pass you around a lot of embroidery to look at before we start. And I'm perfectly sure that you got the point. That there's a big difference between the front and the back. In some forms of embroidery, the back is very different from the front because people take shortcuts. In the front, everything is orderly, and it is supposed to be kind of messy on the back side. See, which side will you wear? You've got to be sure you get the front in front, have the back in the back. The back has all the little tricks in it, all the shortcuts, all the lowdowns that people don't acknowledge. And it's exactly the same with the way we live. You know, like sweeping the dust under the carpet in a hurry just before the guests come. I mean, we do ever so many things like that. And if you don't do it, if you don't think you do it, and you think, well, really, my embroidery is the same on both sides, see? Well, you're deceiving yourself. Because what you're doing is you're taking the shortcuts in another dimension, which you're keeping out of consciousness. Everybody takes the shortcuts. Everybody plays tricks. Everybody has in himself an element of duplicity, of deception. Because you see, from this point of view that I'm discussing, the web is the trap. To be is to deceive. Nobody can be completely honest. You will try and have a great deal of success exploring your motivation, your dark, unconscious depth. That nobody can be completely honest. You will try and have a great deal of success, but there will be a certain point at which you will say, well, that's enough of that. To be is to deceive. To be is to deceive. Think of camouflage. The chameleon who changes its color. Think of the butterfly pretending it has eyes. Think of the flower saying to the bee, like my honey. Bee says, wow. But then that means that the bee has to go on living and all the trouble it takes to go around collecting honey and raising other bees and organizing itself and doing that dance which tells the other bees where there's more honey. There's all that stuff to do. But the flower was deceptive. Life is a drama, and a drama is a deception.
This hand's gonna drive me crazy.
When you peel an onion and you don't really understand the nature of an onion, you might look for the pit in the center, like any ordinary fruit has. But the onion doesn't have a center. It's all skins.
This is
So when
gonna
you
drive me
get right
nuts.
down, there's nothing but a bunch of skins. You say, well, That was kind of disappointing. But of course, you have to understand that the skins are the part that you eat.
All right, I'm gonna put the video on here so I can reference myself.
But in rather than anything you find when you explore yourself, your motivation, you go through and through and you try to find out that thing which really is genuine. That thing which really is genuine. But in rather than anything you find when you explore yourself, your motivation, you go through and through and you try to find out that thing which really is genuine. That thing which really is genuine. That's why in Zen, discipline.
This is literally what I do all
They give you
day.
koans which require a perfectly genuine act. An act of total and absolute sincerity. And people knock themselves out trying to do this thing. But they always know that the master's going to catch them. Because he reads their thought. You know that story of Von Kleist about the man who had a fight with a bear, and the bear could read his thoughts? So that the only way of hitting the bear was to do so.
All right,
not
I
on
think I
purpose.
know what looks weird.
Because the bear would know in advance. So it's the same in working with a Zen master. You have to do the genuine act, not on purpose. But since you're put in a situation where it's rather formal and you're supposed to do it on purpose, you're stuck, see? So you explore the onion and you go in and in and in, and then you find, well, it's all a deception. Well, in rather than anything you find when you explore yourself and your motivation, you go through and through and you try to find out that thing which really is genuine. That thing which really is genuine. Well, in rather than anything you find when you explore yourself and your motivation, you go through and through and you try to find out that thing which really is genuine. That thing which really is genuine.
All right, I hate this. All right, first thing I want to do, get rid of that.
Now then the question arises, who's deceiving?
We're gonna fade that out. I gotta kind of start this from scratch.
I'm fooling me.
Clean palette. Excuse me, I got a cough. I got the corona.
Now then the question.
Excuse me.
I'm fooling me. What is fooling? Fooling is playing like you're there when you're not. You know, getting somebody else to answer your name in the roll call. So, we're all, this is the metaphysical basis of it. This is what the Hindus mean by Maya, the world illusion. The world is playing its there when it isn't.
Okay, I'm liking this one.
And it's a trap. You can't get out of it. And it's a trap.
I know I look ridiculous. I'm okay with it.
And it's a thorough big trap, too. But always, when you get an idea like this, or a feeling like this, follow it to its extreme. Don't back out from it. If you find you're selfish,
No, it's
go to the extreme.
David Williams is the last thing I need.
Confusion largely results
A backseat artist.
feelings or ideas to their death. You know, people think they want to be immortal. They'd like to live forever. Do you really want to do that? Think about it. Really go into it. What it would be like. People say they want this, that, and the other. They want this kind of car, they want this kind of dress, this much money, and so on. It's always a good idea to think it right through. What it would involve to be in that situation, to have those desires fulfilled. It's a trap. It sucks you in. And you can't get out of it. It's a trap. It sucks you in. And you can't get out of it. It's a trap. It sucks you in. And you can't get out of it. It's a trap. It sucks you in. And you can't get out of it.
All right, sure. If you want to draw it and send it to me, I'll just trace yours. It'd make my life easier.
How inconvenient would they be?
So yeah, I'll take it.
However attractive. Always turn the embroidery around and look at the underside, but don't get caught doing it. See, that's something one does on the side, in secret. Because otherwise you play the game that everything is as it's supposed to be on the front. But that makes you humorous. And that makes you human. But that makes you humorous. And that makes you human. But that makes you humorous. And that makes you human. But that makes you humorous. And that makes you human. But that makes you humorous. And that makes you human. But that makes you humorous. And that makes you human.
There we go. All right. All right. Send me a snapshot of the panel. This guy, artist of bass reeds, David Williams,
From 3 points of view.
and harasser.
As an analogy,
Artistic harassment.
the selective operation of our senses and mind, whereby
I got it.
things in the world
I got it under
are
control.
significant according to certain game rules. The game that we are playing mostly is the survival game. That is to say, the game ought to go on. Only the way we play the survival game has a kind of element in it which makes it difficult, because we tend to say the first rule of this game is that it's serious. And that messes the whole thing up. So you have to watch out, in other words, when you play, for contradictory game rules, self-contradictory game rules. Because if you get mixed up into them, the game ceases to be worth the candle. You start straining at doing something, then it just isn't worth it. Then the second thing that we observed was the web as an analogy of mutual interdependence. We could call it the idea that all existence is relative, that all existence is transaction. The transaction being typically exemplified by, say, the operation of buying and selling, in which there can be no buying without somebody selling, and there can be no selling without somebody else buying. That kind of interdependence of the inside going together with the outside. What is the you going together with what is outside? You is absolutely fundamental to existence. It is existence. Existence is relativity. Existence is relativity. Existence is relativity. What is the you going together with what is outside? You is absolutely fundamental.
On the music, so I have permission from the artist to use his music. This is Akira the Dawn. I don't know, maybe it'll give me a copyright claim, but I don't think it'll give me a strike. And if it does, then I'll just reach out and he'll reverse it for me. So this is, I have permission to use these tunes. So we should be good. But I appreciate you looking out. Not a problem. But we've got permission to ride.
If you take that point of view to its ultimate extreme.
Again, the music is from Akira the Dawn, and he has a really cool YouTube channel, and he does a lot of streaming and composing and does a lot of these kind of dubs, which I find interesting because I like music and talk at the same time, and for some reason it just puts me at ease. It fills the, I don't know, it fills the, I like it because it fills the space with kind of a droning rhythm, but it also gives me something to think about while I'm drawing, and it keeps me from getting up and wandering around. It satiates my ADD. How about that? It satiates my ADD and keeps me glued to the table and in my chair. Anyway, it's Akira the Dawn on YouTube. All right, I'll turn it back up.
Wrote a letter to a friend of mine which was passed on to me. This friend of mine was aspiring to be a writer, and he was trying to write novels that would put across Buddhism to people. Sugar the pill. And my Zen master friend didn't approve of this at all. He said, don't write any story to people. Write it to the great sky. Because all the real masters of literature, especially novelists and storytellers, are great masters.
What are you going to say? Huh?
Talk
to the people.
You
Is that you?
Use Lewis Carroll and
What are you going to say?
Alice in Wonderland and the Zen textbook. Twas pudding and the slithy toes, the gyre and gimble and the wave. That's Zen. I had a discussion with a great master in Japan.
Oh, sweet kitty.
We were talking about the various people who are working to translate the Zen books into English. He said, that's a waste of time. If you really understand Zen, he said, you can use any book. You could use the Bible. You could use Alice.
Oh my gosh, she really wants on my lap. Come on, buddy. Am I going to consider doing crossovers with any public domain characters? No, I probably will not do that. Although Tesla makes a brief appearance, but I don't guess he's public domain, but he's a public figure. So you might see in Red Rooster, you might see public figures, because Red Rooster doesn't take place in our world, of course. It's like a fantasy version, but it's a fantasy version of our world, and so famous figures do exist, like Hoover and Tesla and Al Capone, and all these characters are there, but it's our world with an extra layer of color on top. So that's the Red Rooster world. But I'm not going to do crossovers with public domain because I think that wrecks the Rooster world. It's its own thing. Do I have concept panels for the entire book before I start drawing page one at a time? Yes. Yes, I do. I have the entire book laid out into this issue. I lay it all out end to end before I ever start finishing a single page. Because I need to know, I might change things along the way. And I usually do. Like I changed almost all of page one. But if I get in the rhythm, it's a better rhythm for me. It's a few reasons. One, I get in a rhythm of just doing layouts, and I'm in that mode of thinking. And then after 3 or 4 pages, I get in a rhythm and they just start coming. Like they just come out a lot easier. And then I'm done with it. And then I don't have to solve those problems later. So, and then the other reason is if the book's laid out end to end, then I can send it over to our chief operating officer, who is basically also the editor of the books, and he can spot them for problems. I have a concept of, I have no fear, right? There's all this kind of dread of like, I got to start a new page, and then I got to go back and read the script, and then I got to do the layout, and then I got to do the drawing. And if you do that page after page after page, and I've done it this way, it's exhausting. It's very, very exhausting because you're switching gears all the time. And I've found, maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but the more I can just not have to switch gears throughout the day, the easier it is on my brain. And the more I got to spend like a whole day on a single task in order to really give it my pure focus. So that's why I lay out books end to end, and I usually stick really, really close to my layouts. I do very tight layouts. As you can see here, I'm not going to deviate much from this page. So, but that's a great question, because a lot of younger artists or novices don't know, and even professionals don't know that it's a lot easier to lay out your book in one pass and then go back and do a pencil. It'd probably be a lot easier if I just penciled and then went back and inked, but usually once I've penciled a page, I immediately ink it right thereafter, because my mind is, I've got all those shapes and lines and shades, they're all fresh. So I go ahead and after I pencil tight pencils or whatever, I go ahead and finish my inks. Really, it's just a matter of, having tried a number of different processes and then settling on the process that taxes my brain the least. So I believe it was, it was Bill Gates that said, and I'm paraphrasing ridiculously. Bill Gates famously said, if I've got a particularly gnarly or difficult project that I really need cracked and I need it cracked quickly, he says he puts the laziest person on the job. So he finds a very smart but very lazy individual and gives them the task, because he knows that they'll attempt to find the shortest, most efficient way from point A to point Z. So that's kind of me. All right, I'll get back to work. And I got this sweet kitten on my lap here. So if you see me petting something, it is not myself. It is Hamburger. He likes to be on my lap. All right, here we go. Computer, it depends on what I'm doing. I like, I know David's a paper man, but I like the computer for pages, but I don't like computers for sketches. So I just get frustrated on paper. I like to be able to have all these tools at my disposal.
When people are unoccupied, as far as I can make out, they get together and they sing and dance, or else watch somebody else do it. Nowadays, we live in a non-participative culture, and we don't do very much singing and dancing. We're lugubrious, and we watch other people do it on television. What we really are interested in is to be able to spend all the time going, who's about it, 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 who's about it. You know, the method. And that's what our heart's doing, that's what our lungs are doing, it's what our eyeballs are doing, And it's what all these fantastic capillaries of the veins are doing. They're going just you see? And that's the point. Now the thing is, ought this to be allowed? You know, dare we admit it? What's your idea? What's your idea?
All right, got a super chat. Super chat from Mark C. Thank you for $5, Mark. Really do appreciate it. Sorry, just got here. No, don't be sorry. This is just a hangout. Heard about the Arkansas paper. How are you guys doing? We're doing well. We've had a couple of local interviews, one in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, and which is our largest daily old-fashioned style newspaper. And then we did another interview for the Arkansas Times, which is the largest free magazine in the state. And both of those articles are available to read on our website, allegiancearts.com. You can go and click them and read them if you like. I think they're pretty good. Good enough to put them up on our website. I think they shed a little light on what we've been up to and what the Allegiance Arts Project is all about. So, but thank you, Mark, for $5. Appreciate it. But I won't have original art to sell. If it's computer, that's true, and it breaks my heart about that. But it's just, for me, it's just about getting the job done at this point. And when I first started, I have a few Red Rooster pages I drew on paper and people purchased in advance. And maybe I'll have one or two left for myself to keep. But ultimately, I've got a book to deliver, and it's about the property and about the company, and that's what we're doing. So also in regards to the paper, if you want to go read those articles, feel free to do so. I had one mild disclaimer in the Arkansas Times article. I was a little bit frustrated, maybe a lot frustrated, that the guy did a lot of editorializing. So it was going to be sort of a hometown artists make good and do great things for the culture and for the comic book community kind of story. But he got a little sidetracked on things that we thought were maybe a little more negative, and then he really editorialized and kind of sandwiched his own political views into it, and we're not a political company, so that was a little odd, but otherwise it has some pretty good stuff in it.
See, as we mythologize ultimate reality in the form of this cosmic grandpapa, who is also a king and is demanding above all things reverence and respect. So it's difficult for us, because of that cultural heritage, to accept, to accommodate our common sense to the idea that the web might basically be playful. That it might be like somebody saying,
You got it. I'll do it as soon as I'm done.
And the other child,
This is the understatement of the year, Serena. Never trust a journalist. There are some good ones, but it's like they're few and far between. Actually, probably most of them are just pretty decent people when they're not actually journalizing. But yeah, I get frustrated. Yeah, Bosk is always looking on the bright side. Doing more pages on a computer means those who bought pages get something even more rare and collectible. I guess that is true. All right, I spent way too long on this hand, so we're going to get focused here.
For a serious reason. You like the table to look nice, you know, you don't want to serve up the dishes for dinner with all the leavings of breakfast still lying on them. So why do you want the table to look nice? Well, again, it's for nice. You like the pattern of it that way. People get terribly compulsive about doing these things. And they think that going on arranging the patterns of life is something that's a beauty. That means a death.
All right.
You owe it to yourself or to your...
Again, for those who are just kind of showing up, I'm going to show you what I've been using here for.
See, that's the trouble. When a child comes into the world, the parents play an
A little headless man here.
Being honest,
Yeah, these little models are fan-freaking-tastic. The company is called 3D,
and you're an ungrateful little bastard.
3dtotal.com.
And the child was terribly guilty.
So I'm referencing his clavicle and shoulder, and I got to draw the trapezius muscle and how the cape rests over it. So I'm just going to look weird on camera for you, so you can really see what happens here.
The existentialists make a big thing of this. You watch out for them, because they're hoaxes. And they say that guilt is ontological. If you're
Hey, it's Art.
feeling guilty,
Long time no see, Art.
because Papa and Mama said, look at all the trouble you've caused us. You shouldn't dare to exist. You have no rights. But maybe we'll give you some out of the generosity of our hearts so that you'll be permanently indebted to us. And so everybody goes around with that sort of thing in their background unless they have different kinds of papas and mamas who didn't play that trick. And if they don't do it, somebody else does it. And he comes there and says, you don't realize what your father and mother have done to you. You think you know you can just stay around here and goof off, but they've sweated blood to give you your clothes and food and so on, and you ought to be grateful for it. But that's not the way to make people grateful. They won't be grateful that way. They'll imitate gratefulness. They'll put on a big show and say, oh, thank you so much. I feel so indebted to you, and so on and so forth. And they'll make it look good. That isn't real. That isn't real.
All right, David, do you pencil an entire page with type pencils before you ink a panel? Or do you pencil a little bit and then ink a panel and then go from panel to panel? So the curious minds want to know, is penciling one task and inking is a separate task, or do you mix the two? So I'm real curious. Inquiring minds want to know. I'm doing pretty well, Art. I guess I can't complain mostly. So just dealing with the normal craziness and trying to swim against the tide.
afflicted with ontological guilt. For example, if a policeman comes to the door, everybody is instantly frightened. You wonder, what on earth have I done? And there are certain clergy who are absolute experts in making you feel guilty. They are really marvelous. And there are clergy of all kinds, for all classes, and for all levels of intelligence. And they can make you feel real guilty. I mean, you have to watch always what games people play.
Hey, Mitch, are you the most read comic artist in the U.S. this year? I remember you had a deal with Walmart. I don't know. I don't think I'm the most read artist in Walmart, but maybe, I mean, I'm definitely the most read artist in Walmart, I guess. Hey, Mitch, are you from the U.S. this year? I remember you had a deal with Walmart. No, Walmart deal's going great. We have a, anyway, I'm not going to get into it really, but yeah, everybody knows we got 4 titles, and they are in 3,384 Walmarts. Things are doing pretty well, despite everything against all of us in the year of 2020. So yeah, it's going all right. And lots of people are reading our books, and that's a really wonderful thing because all our books are really great, and all our creators worked very, very hard to deliver excellent comic books. And while we may not be the most read books of the year, although I wouldn't argue against it, I feel pretty confident in saying we have the best books of the year, the best. No better books. And they're available at Walmart. And I'm going to get back to work here. I do a fair amount of drawing in the inking, says David. He says it depends on how complicated the panel. It's never really tight pencils. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. It also kind of depends on, it's almost like surfing. You get to a point and you're kind of sketching and hacking away on something. And at a point, if you feel the groove, you're feeling it. It's like you feel the wave and you're like, okay, I'm going to get on the ink wave. And then you're going to surf for a while just because you've got that confidence up. That's kind of how it goes for me sometimes. Joseph Stolen says, great, I hope you make $1 million. I hope we all make $1 million and I make 10. All right. Here we go. Go back here.
All really humane people admit that there are.
All right, so Tom's having trouble finding the books. They're not available at Walmart. I keep checking and can never find them. All right, first thing you need to do, so not every Walmart got our books. So we have a store locator list on our website. It's allegiancearts.com. First thing you need to do is check and see if your store is on our list. If your store is on our list, then then it might be a little tough. Because there was a small percentage of stores that just didn't roll them out, or they sent them back, or they didn't have room for the display, or the manager didn't like them, or whatever the case may be. There's a 100 different variables that could have happened. But if your store is on our list, they should have got them, and we're working hard with our distributor to find out which stores didn't roll out the displays or the comic books, and make sure that those merchandisers of those stores know what's up and know how to display the comic books, and we're trying to work out some of those kinks. But if your Walmart doesn't carry the comic books, they can also be ordered from walmart.com. The best thing to do is go to allegiancearts.com, and we have a convenient link right at the top of our homepage that you can click that takes you to all eight comic books on the walmart.com website. We're also working to clean up that. We've hired a professional to come in and help us clean up our walmart.com listing, which is a little bit of a mess. It's not our fault for sure, and really nobody's fault. It's just a bunch of tangled wires. So anyway, but you can get them all on .com. They're free shipping with orders over $30, which is pretty nice. So I hope you go check them out, and we sure appreciate you looking for our books in your Walmart. Thank you so much. The current page is from issue 3, which I've got to finish in the short weeks ahead. Mark C., thank you for $10. Very generous this evening. Thank you, Mark. Kudos to those who can go back and forth between pencils and inks. I can't. I use pencils to finalize storytelling and character acting. It's a totally different discipline to me than inking. Yeah, it's just a kind of different strokes for different folks. I think I have a painterly touch to my work, and so I sometimes do a lot of the drawing in the inking as well, and as does David, it seems. I want to spend some studio time with David and learn all his tricks, because he's got some cool tricks in his toolbox, and oh man, you guys got to see Bass Reeves issue 3. It's the best one yet in terms of story and art. So definitely get excited and pumped about Bass Reeves episode 3. It really delivers. And Gabriel El Tayeb is the colorist for the book, and he's really settled in to a groove, and he's doing some really lovely work as well. So Bass Reeves is going to be absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Mark, for $10. Thank you, Mark, for $5. Most Walmarts I've found the books in keep them in the electronics section. That's correct. So there's best laid plans. We wanted to have these in the books aisle, but in the process, somewhere between the process of us starting this and us getting these to the shelves, Walmart did a little rearranging in their books, and it actually reduced the amount of space available to hang end cap displays like we have. So typically they just put them as close to the book section as possible. That's going to be somewhere in the entertainment or electronics section. So you can look around, and if you don't see them in the book section, just explore the entertainment and electronics section. We should be somewhere in there. Paulus says, my Walmart must have sent them back. They never rolled out book 2, and the display is gone. Man, that stinks. Yeah, 3,384, and it's not the right fit for every single store, and it's just the nature of the beast. I hope you check them out on walmart.com. We're talking about getting some more displays printed and giving some of these stores another go, and so that might happen soon as well. I'd certainly like to give it another shot to get the small percentage of stores that weren't able to execute properly, get them another go at it, because we value every customer and every market. Okay, good deal. Well, give it a check, and if you have trouble, hit us up on Facebook, and we're pretty responsive there. We're collecting information from people that have had any kind of issues with locating our books, or with damaged books, or anything else. So, yeah, give it a look. Appreciate it. My Walmart keeps Red Rooster in the book section at the front of the store. Yeah, that's where mine are. And actually, that's a rare. My Walmart has the books at the front as well, but that's actually pretty unusual in terms of Walmart. Oh my gosh, I got cat hair all over my face. Itching. Sorry. Cat drives me crazy. Okay. Let's groove.
Some of them pretty comely. All squirming in there, and they're being eaten by worms.
Okay, that's awesome. Boom. That is very nice. Very, very nice. Good to hear.
has a kind of a mush. It's like the sort of situation you find when you turn up a big rock. There's all that going on underneath. Now, there's no question whatever that Van Eyck, the painter, had more fun painting that part of the picture than he did painting the top part. So in the same way, it was agreed that Hieronymus Bosch and the Bruegel, they painted every kind of weird, surrealistic deviltry going on. And they really loved it. But they couldn't admit it. I know what it's about.
That hand still doesn't look right. It looks a little skinny, but I'll fix it in the ink. I will fix it in the ink. It's enough for me to go on.
Now, the only time
My pencils don't have to be perfect.
was when, for example, the Islamic artists made arabesques and the Celtic artists made fantastically intricate lattices.
All right, now this panel here is going to require a little bit of perspective engineering to iron out.
Unbelievably beautiful, or take stained glass or something like that. But what are they doing? What's it all about? What are they doing? What's it all about? What will you do now? What will you do now? See, it's like a musician. He likes to take a melody.
This guy.
And he likes to put another melody that fits in with it. And another one that fits in with both. And then a fourth one. And arrange them together. He invents an instrument like an organ and he plays with two hands. Then he adds footballs that he plays completely in the hand.
Okay, now this one might need us to look. This one's pretty rough. You probably can't even tell what's going on here.
And so when drummers get together and somebody starts out with a certain rhythm, and then that rhythm has holes in it. In other words, it has certain silences in the next drummer.
So the first thing I'm going to do with this one is build a.
He comes and picks out a pattern.
I'm going to find my X, Y, and Z axes,
The basic form of
and then build a simple perspective grid for this shot, which is a kind of a knee level. Camera's at knee level,
DNA is like
and it's kind of tilted.
there's different kinds of beads in it.
You get my ruler.
The order and the
So I
way
use my rulers right on top of the Cintiq.
you get
It's
genes,
the easiest way to do it.
so you get a particular form of life that emerges from those genes. So what we're doing way down is saying, she loves me, she don't, she have me, she won't, she would if she could, but she can't. She loves me, she don't, she have me, she won't, she would if she could, but she can't. She loves me, she don't, she have me, she won't, she would if she could, but she can't. She loves me, she don't, she won't, she would if she could, but she can't. This is the way life is going on. She loves me, she don't, she have me, she won't, she would if she could, but she can't. She loves me, she don't, she have me, she won't, she would if she could, but she can't. She loves me, she don't, she have me, she won't, she would if she could, but she can't. This is the way life is going on. Question is then, see, in your counterparts, you can take the attitude that all this is terrible, or that it's dreadfully serious. You see, you can play comedies, you can play tragedies, farces, histories, and romances, and all that kind of thing, and you can take these various attitudes to it. But if you are awakened, and as it were, you've been let into the secret, which is what we've been talking about, because the web is also the curtain, the veil. The veil which hides the face of God from the angel. See, there's always this veil. That's why we like to strip tease. Because there's an implication that this, you should never give the show completely away. There's always should be a little bit of a veil left, you see. There always is.
So I don't spend too much time on this initial perspective because I don't always nail it on the first time. So I just kind of lay something down real quick. I wish I could show you what I was doing. I need a second camera.
You never really know. You never really get to the bottom. That's why everybody, all men, poets, say that women are basically mysterious.
So one of the great things about Photoshop and drawing digitally is to do perspective. All I need is this simple little tool. And then I can shrink my page like I've done here. I don't have to I used to go and get string and giant rulers and tape them together to do really intricate perspective drawings. Now I just need a little handheld tool. And I can shrink my page instead of extending my ruler. And that is a nice luxury of digital drawing. All right, so there we have a very simple, quick and dirty perspective. And then I want to try to lay some figures in it. And I'm sure David will tell me I'm doing it wrong. He's like, just draw it. Just do it in the inks. That's going to be David.
What I'm saying is
I just do it in the ink.
I'm trying to share with you a certain style of life and an attitude to life.
He doesn't need no pencils.
I've taken you on one side and said, listen, kids, things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids, things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids, things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a big deception going on.
No, Photoshop does not have perspective grid tools like Clip Studio Paint. It's a little frustrating. It seems like the easiest thing in the world to add, and they just simply will not do it. But I've got my own tricks, and I kind of like them. I manage.
And it isn't only shop builders and garage owners who do this kind of thing. It's also people who profess to be painters. They're actually using excrements for painting today. On the theory that the world is shot to pieces, that since the artist is a representative of his times, he ought to show the times as they really are as a social critic. So he makes this weird Campbell soup pan.
Look at this guy. I eyeball all my perspective like Michael Golden does. Well, that explains everything. That explains everything.
Listen, kids, things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids, things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids, things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a big deception going on. And you're involved in it, but I just thought you ought to know it. Let's take the character of the typewriter. The person who brings you an invitation to dance. I say then, you see, there is going to be a dance this evening, and I would like you all to come. That's the spirit in which I invite you to a seminar. I'm not inviting you in the spirit of saying, no, we've got to discuss some very grave matters. And you ought to be awake to all these things and arouse your social conduct. When you get through with all that, then what? When you get through with all that, then what? When you get through with feeding the hungry and clothing the naked.
Hey, look, if you can tell me where the magic perspective tools are in Photoshop, I am all ears because I am willing to learn. If they're there and I could be dead wrong.
Well, you see, if you've got all these people clothed and fed and so on, then they should.
I'm not happy with that.
If you've got a kind of Quakerish state of mind, you don't know what to do.
That puts the horizon line at about
Feed and clothe somebody else.
3 feet.
But then, where is that?
At 3 feet off the ground, off the plane.
Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a deception going on. You're involved in it, but I just thought you ought to know it. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a big deception going on. And you're involved in it, but I just thought you ought to know it.
Say my name.
To spread joy, you have to have it. To impart delight, you have to be more or less delightful. And to be delightful is not some factor of trying to make yourself look delightful. It is to do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to others. It is to do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. Do things that are delightful to you. You become thereby delightful to others. That's to say, people who are interesting are people who are interested. Any person, for example, who is constantly thinking about all sorts of other things and other people and so on, because they're fascinating.
I'll show you what I'm listening to. Let me make sure I'm not going to dox myself.
But a person who doesn't think about anybody else and who's got very little.
Am I doxing myself? No.
Is boring. So, in other words.
Okay, yeah, we're listening to Akira the Don, who gave me permission to use all his music for my live streams. But he's got a great channel where he dubs thinkers, philosophers, writers, conceptual people over this DJ music he does. So this is Alan Watts, and yes, it is neuro-linguistic programming. I am mind controlling all of you.
By taking a course in how to win, trends, and influence people, or how to be a real person, you'll become Mr. Russia. You'll be like somebody trying to get a good nutrition.
We're going to do the Terence McKenna one next about the Clockwork Elves. In fact, let's do that one. This one's almost over, so let's do Terence McKenna. Clockwork Elves.
It eats itself up. That's why the symbol of the snake swallowing its tail is a fundamental archaic symbol.
All right, here we go. We're going to try that one.
The way it's done is that
It's kind of funny. Here we go. Here it is.
Of the ring.
This guy's got a crazy voice.
I encounter self-transforming elf machines, which are creatures.
Don't do drugs, people. Don't do drugs.
Although they're not made out of matter, they're made out of syntax driving light.
So for those of you who don't know, if you take DMT, which I have not,
Challenging parts of the whole
apparently you see
landscape.
clockwork elves of reality.
The idea of disordered sensory input, recovery of traumatic memory material. But what are we to do with an elf? What are we to do with an elf? What are we to do with an elf?
I don't know. What do you do with an elf?
You know, that becomes
I'd shake him down for gold.
contextualized in psychoanalytic theory, although Jung did a good job when he said autonomous elements can escape from the psyche's control and present themselves as independent entities. I'm not sure he's ever seen a self-transforming elf machine.
Have you seen a self-transforming elf machine?
Defining characteristic of the true DMT flash. I mean, it is not subtle. These things mob you like badly trained Rottweilers.
Have you been molested by elves,
By
Chris
the
McCroskey?
dozens, by the hundred.
I'm
They
pretty sure you
jump
have.
into your body. They jump out of your body. I mean, it maps to some degree over the archetype of the little people. The leprechaun, the fae, and being Irish and being Jungian, I'm willing to entertain, maybe I have a special relationship to this stuff. But then in the Amazon, the people using DMT that I studied, the reason they did it, they said, was to speak with the little people. Was to speak with the little people. What are we to do with an elf? 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 What puzzles me about my contact
All right, this panel is a little
beings,
tricky.
it conforms to, let's say, the Irish model. They are small, full of merriment, almost to a manic and frightening level. It's sort of like a Bugs Bunny cartoon going berserk. They are friendly, but play rough. It's a land of explosions and falling anvil. The overwhelming feeling is love, this kind of crazy, childish affection, and they're delighted to have me in their presence.
The elves love me.
These entities have an agenda. It's a very curious agenda. They use a language which you see. It is made out of sound, but you see it. And the entire point of the encounter seems to be to teach you to do this. They want you to transform your language. They want you to speak elfish. What?
What?
If you've never done DMT and you just smoked it and you're 30 seconds into this experience and this is what it's come down to. What are we to do with an elf? What are we to do with an elf? What are we to do with an elf? What are we to do with an elf?
This everyday weekend, visit Guitar Center for the best selection of new
the Keebler elves make our reality. He didn't have any idea. That was childhood programming for future drug abusers. That's what is it? Who makes the Keebler? Is that Nestle? No. What company is that? Nabisco? Is that it? They were up to no good. Those Keebler elves.
For years and years and years, and I don't know why there should be an invisible syntactical intelligence giving language lessons in hyperspace.
Who's Tyler Childers? I have no idea.
That certainly consistently seems to be what is happening.
Will he give me the rights to play his music on my YouTube channel? Then maybe I'll do it.
Of that. First of all, it is the most remarkable thing we do. Chomsky showed the deep structure of languages under genetic control, but that's like the assembly language level. Local expressions of language are
I don't know who this is.
It seems to me that language is some kind of enterprise of human beings.
Am I in trouble?
That is not finished.
Uh-oh.
It seems to me that language is some kind of enterprise of human beings that is not finished. We have now left the grunts and the digs of the elbow somewhat in the dust. But the most articulate, brilliantly pronounced and projected English or French or German or Chinese is still a poor carrier of our intent, a very limited bandwidth for the intense compression of data that we are trying to put across to each other. Intense compression.
There we go. Let's get that gnarly in.
The ratios of the senses, the ratio between the eye and the ear, and so forth. This also is not genetically fixed. There are ear cultures, and there are eye cultures, print cultures, and electronic cultures. So it may be that our perfection and our completion lies in the perfection and completion of the word. It seems to me that language is some kind of enterprise of human beings that is not finished. It seems to me that language is some kind of enterprise of human beings that is not finished. Again, this curious theme of the word and its effort to concretize itself. A language that you can see is far less ambiguous than a language that you hear. If I read a paragraph of Proust, then we can spend the rest of the afternoon discussing what did he mean. But if we look at a piece of sculpture by Henry Moore, we can discuss what did he mean.
All right. So I like this. I mean, Terrence McKenna's a nut, but I like interesting conversations. We can go back to Alan Watts or play somebody else. Let's see. Let's do more. There's Naval. This one you'll like. This one you'll like, Chris. All right, so this is Naval, and this is one about business. So this was maybe more up your alley. So the artist that's the composer for all this, Akira, he just moved to Texas. We should bring him to Lake Weekend next year. He's a cool dude. So you need to check him out.
Is the computer program that's running at night that's serving other customers. Wealth is even money in the bank that is being reinvested into other assets and into other businesses. Even a house can be a form of wealth because you can rent it out. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. But really the reason you want wealth is because it gives you freedom. The purpose of wealth is freedom. So you don't have to wear a tie like a collar around your neck. So you don't have to wake up at 7 a.m. and rush to work and sit in commute traffic. So you don't have to waste away your entire life grinding all the productive hours away to a soulless job that isn't fulfilling. It's really just so that you are your own sovereign individual. You're not going to get that unless you really want it. And the entire world wants it. And the entire world is working hard at it. And to some extent it is competitive. It's a positive sum game, but there are competitive elements to it because there's a finite amount of resources right now in society, and to get the resources to do what you want, you have to stand out. Money is how we transfer wealth. Money is social credits. It is the ability to have credits and debit of other people's time.
Well, you got to check this guy out.
Do my job right. If I create value
He's
for
going
society, society says, "Oh, thank you. We owe you something in the future for the work that you did in the past. Here's a little IOU. Let's call that money." Wealth is businesses and assets that can
I gotta send a text
while you
message.
sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that you earn while you sleep. There are fundamentally two huge games in life that people play. One is the money game, because money is not going to solve all your problems, but it's going to solve all your money problems. And people know that, and they realize that, so they want to make money. But at the same time, many of them deep down believe that they can't make it. They don't want any wealth creation to happen. They sort of virtue signal by attacking the market.
no.
Making money,
A plane.
do it, blah, blah. They're actually playing the other game, which is status.
I got a book I have to draw.
In the eyes of other people watching, status is just your
We'll see.
ranking in the social hierarchy. Status is just your ranking in the social hierarchy. So wealth is not a zero-sum game. Everybody in the world can have a house. Because you have a house doesn't take away from my ability to have a house. If anything, the more houses that are built, the easier it becomes to build houses. The more we build houses, the more people that can have houses. So wealth is a very positive sum game. Status, on the other hand, is a zero-sum game. It's a very old game. We've been playing it since monkey tribes, and it's hierarchical. Who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. And for number three to move to number two has to move out as well. So status is a zero-sum game. Politics is an example of a status game. Even sports is an example of a status game. To be the winner, there must be a loser. I don't fundamentally love status games. They play an important role in our society, so we figure out who's in charge. But fundamentally, you play them because they're a necessary evil. Wealth is businesses and assets that you earn while you sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that you earn while you sleep. But really the reason you want wealth is because it gives you freedom. The purpose of wealth is freedom. Wealth is journalists attack rich people, they're really bidding for status. They're saying, no, the people are more important, and I, the journalist, represent the people, and therefore I am more important. The problem is that by playing these status games, to win a status game, you have to put somebody else down. That's why you should avoid status games in your life, because they make you into an angry, combative person. You're always fighting to put other people down, to put yourself and the people that you like up. Just realize that most of the time, when you're trying to create wealth, you're actually getting attacked by someone else, and they're trying to look like a goody two shoes. But really, what they're doing is they're trying to up their own status at your expense. They're just playing a different game, and it's a worse game. It's a zero-sum game instead of a positive-sum game. Akira. He's got clout. There's this notion that making money is evil. It's like rooted all the way back down to money's root of all evil. People think that the bankers steal our money. And, it's somewhat true in that in a lot of the world, there's a lot of theft going on all the time. The history of the world, in some sense, is this prey relationship between makers and takers. People go out and create things and build things and work hard on things, and there are people who come along and take with a sword or a gun or taxes or crony capitalism or communism. There's all these different methods to steal. Even in nature, there are more parasites than there are non-parasitical organisms. You have a ton of parasites in you who are living off of you, and the better ones are symbiotic and giving something back, but there are a lot that are just taking. That's the nature of how any complex system is built. But what I am basically focused on is true wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal, methods to steal, methods to steal. There's all these different methods to steal. True wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal. It's not about taking money, it's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's for creating abundance. Obviously, there's not a finite number of jobs or a finite amount of wealth. Otherwise, we'll still be sitting around in caves. We're going to have to divide up pieces of firewood and, the occasional dead deer. Most of the wealth in civilization, in fact, not most, basically all of it has been created. And it got created from somewhere. It got created from people. It got created from technology. It got created from productivity. It got created from hard work. So this idea that is stolen, it's, I think, this horrible zero-sum game that people who are trying to gain status play. But the reality is everyone can be rich. We can see that. I see that in the first world, everyone is basically richer than almost anyone who was alive 200 years ago. 200 years ago, nobody had antibiotics, nobody had cars, nobody had electricity. So all of these things are inventions that have made us wealthier as a species. Today, I would rather be a poor person in a first world country than be a rich person in Louis XIV's France. And that's just because of wealth creation. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich.
That's not technically
can be rich.
Well, I don't know.
Everybody can be wealthy. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. It's not about taking money. It's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's for creating abundance. The technology is science that is applied for the purpose of creating abundance. I think fundamentally everybody can be wealthy. And the thought experiment I want you to think through is imagine if everybody had the knowledge of a good software engineer and a good hardware engineer. If you could go out there and you could build robots and computers and bridges and program them, but every human knew how to do that. What do you think society would look like in 20 years? My guess is what would happen is we would build robots, machines, software, and hardware to do everything, and we would all be living in massive abundance. We would essentially be retired in the sense that none of us would have to work for any of the basics. We'd even have robotic nurses, machines for the hospital. We'd have self-driving cars. We'd have farms that are 100% automated. We'd have clean energy. At that point, we can use the technology breakthroughs to get everything that we wanted, and if anyone's still working, they're working at the forefront of their creativity, okay? Because it's in them to contribute and to build and design things. But I don't think capitalism is evil. capitalism is actually good. It's just that it gets hijacked. It gets hijacked by improper pricing of externalities, by improper deals where that you basically have corruption or you have monopolies. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. Can be rich. Can be rich. Everybody can be wealthy. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. It's not about taking money, it's not about taking money, but it's for creating abundance. Abundance. To get everything that we wanted. Abundance. Abundance. To get everything that we wanted. Overall, capitalism is intrinsic to the human species. Capitalism is not something we invented. Capitalism is not even something we discovered. It is innate to us in every exchange that we have. When you and I exchange information, I want some information back from you. I give you information. You give me information. If we weren't having a good information exchange, you'd go talk to somebody else. So the notion of exchange and keeping track of credits and debits, this is built into us as flexible social animals. We are the only animals in the animal kingdom that cooperate across genetic boundaries. Most animals don't cooperate. But when they do, they cooperate only in packs where they call them all together and they share blood, so they have some shared interest. Humans don't have that. Humans don't have that. I can cooperate with you guys. One of you is a Serbian, the other one is a Persian by origin, I'm Indian by origin. We have very little blood in common, basically none, but we still cooperate. And what lets us cooperate? It's because we can keep track of debits and credits, who put in how much work, who contributed how much. That's all free market capitalism is. So I strongly believe that it is innate to the human species, and we are going to create more and more wealth and abundance for everybody. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. If you don't want it, that's fine, then you opt out of the game. But don't try and put down the people who are playing the game. Who are playing the game. Because that's the game that keeps you in a comfortable, warm bed at night. That's the game that keeps a roof over your head. That's the game that keeps your supermarket stocked. That's the game that keeps the iPhone buzzing in your pocket. It is a beautiful game that is worth playing ethically, rationally, morally, socially for the human race. And it's going to continue to make us all richer and richer until we have massive wealth creation for anybody who wants it. In the U.S. is a very popular country for immigrants because it's the American dream. Anyone can come here, be poor, and then work really hard and make money and get wealthy. The definition of wealth is different for different people. A first world citizen's definition of wealth might be, I have to make billions of dollars and completely done. Whereas to a third world poor immigrant just entering the country, and we were poor immigrants who came here when I was fairly young, wealth may just be a much lower number. It may just be that I don't have to work a manual labor job for the rest of my life that I don't want to work. But groups that despise it will essentially bring the entire group down to that level. If you get too many takers and not enough makers, society falls apart. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. You end up with a communist country. Look at Venezuela, right? They were so busy taking and dividing and reallocating that people are literally starving in the streets and losing kilograms of body weight every year just through sheer starvation. Another way to think about it is imagine an organism that has too many parasites. You actually need some small number of parasites to stay healthy, and you need a lot of symbiotes, like all the mitochondria in all of our cells that help us respirate and burn oxygen. These are symbiotes that help us survive. We couldn't survive without them. But to me, those are partners in the law of creation that creates the human body. But if you just were filled with parasites that were purely parasitic.
All right, I'm gonna shut down the stream here in a minute. Take a break. Refocus. Go give my wife a nice hug, who has been dealing with some nasty comments this evening, and quite frankly, bizarre comments that seem to be hitting her out of nowhere. I understand people are upset that your comic book is late. I understand you're upset that your comic book is late. I am working on it. It is not the end of the world. No reason to upset my spouse. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It is just a comic book. It's gonna be done. It's gonna be beautiful. Please do not send nasty messages to my wife. She has to deal with it, and it's not pleasant, and it's not a good look to be that upset about a comic book, okay? So, PSA, of course, none of the people watching this are sending nasty messages, but if you want a refund, ask nicely, we'll give it to you, not a problem. You don't have to insult, and you don't have to punch the door on your way out the house. I'm working as hard as I can to get done with the book by the end of this very month, and then I will begin fulfillment immediately thereafter. I've already got posters on hand, and we're in the process of fulfilling other things. So I'm gonna go give my wife a hug, and again, be kind to each other. I appreciate everyone's patience. But there's no reason to get upset about a comic book. There are very important things going on in life. So, hope everybody had a wonderful Labor Day. I'm going to check out for the night. Y'all have an awesome week, okay? Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.